All right, so I'm here with Sean. We tried to spiff it up, and we're using a StreamYard so we can put it on multiple avenues to record, and it can be a little cleaner when we're showing stuff on our computers. It's kind of actually Sean's idea. We kind of put some stuff. Plus, we got our YouTube scroll on the bottom. You can find all our videos on the bomb tickets. I think we've done about 12, about every 2 or 3 weeks. If you search the bomb tickets on YouTube, you can find them all. Just talking about all the stuff we've been talking about, basically. And then our IGs are on there if you want to follow us. Sean, you have anything to add about all this?
Well, one of the other things, and one of the big reasons why we're doing this is to be able to add more people to the conversation. Where on Instagram, it's kind of, if there's 2 spaces, and to have more than 2 people talking, it just kind of gets a little difficult to, for, I guess, the format. With this, we could easily add more people to have more voices, more points of view in the ticket world, because there are a lot of them. And I know people get tired of me talking about how baseball debuts and anti-autographs, although that might be changing soon.
Right. So, welcome to the dark
jump into it.
Autograph dark side. All right. Yeah. So I would say we would start with, there are a couple big auctions, the Lelands and the Goldin. So we'll start with the Lelands.
Yeah.
Help us out here, because we were using this as all kind of new. So we'll see about showing my computer to kind of look at these things. Let's hit that share screen. All right. So basically, as you can see, the biggest one that have sold lately is the Wilt. It was a PSA 3. Went for roughly a little over 100. We actually know the guy who bought this. I think it was a fair deal. I think it was in the ballpark. I think the last one went for like, remind me, there's one on Rally that was 125 that they fractioned off. And of course,
I think that was exactly the same grade, right? And it was 115. They did the fractional. Okay. But there was the other one that recently sold in, I think it was Lelands, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Lelands. And they did, but they had bundled it with that other, with the autographed program.
The program.
Yeah, and that one went for what, 137? But it's hard to tell how much the program affected that, because that program was quite valuable as well.
Right, and there was the laminated one that was on. Where was the laminated one?
That was Heritage. That was Heritage. Yeah.
So yeah, the laminated one. How recent was that? Was that a while ago?
That was in this last auction. That was in the same one with the Jackie and the.
All right, so yeah, here's the laminated one, and it basically went for 49,000, and it was pretty much beat to hell. And as you can see, I'll see if I can pull it up and kind of give you the full view of it. As you can see, man, it's beat to hell with writing on the back, and that went for 50. It kind of gives you a gauge of what all these kind of go for.
And so comparing the grade in that, this one, I guess, was a great deal. If at that grade it's at 50, and then you go from that to, I think, the highest or second highest. Do you know if there's a PSA 4?
I think there's 1 4, and then there's another, I think, couple 3s. I was a little surprised the pop report's up to like 16, 18 now, and I think a while back, before things got crazy, it was like at 10 or 12. So you're starting to see people put these in, but there's been about 5 or 6 of these sold in the last 9 months. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's interesting, and that's what we saw, and we actually predicted this. You can go back in our videos. We predicted that this kind of dynamic was going to happen, where once there's just one giant sale, then you start seeing a bunch of that ticket pop up. And it's not necessarily because there's a lot of them out there. It's because everybody's cashing in, and this might be the only period of time that you can get one. So,
right.
It might be the time to strike.
The true test with these tickets is when they really start coming out of the woodwork, when the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th one starts to sell. are we seeing the prices slowly drop, slowly keep coming down, or are they starting to hold? Because when a lot start coming out, you kind of reach a point where it hits kind of like a peak. And then it's like, what happens when it hits that peak? Does it kind of stay at that peak, or is it like, it start coming down because, demand's not keeping up with supply? And I think I talked about this before with the high end stuff, like Probstein, I believe Jeff Probstein was talking about that stuff is really, held up and actually increased, while the lower end stuff like the cards, the base stuff, the non-inserts, the non-autos, has actually dropped quite a bit. And that's kind of how I see down the road with ticket stuff playing out. The ones with the super low pop report will hold their value or continue to go up are, the stuff that are lower end where you're seeing a lot of tickets hit the market, starts to steadily decline. Because
you see it happening kind of in the way that this year has unfolded, where and even last year, where one Mickey Mantle sold for $100,000 debut, Mickey Mantle debut, and all of a sudden you see 2 or 3 hit the market because all those people were in on it like $3,000 or $6,000 or something, so they want that 100,000. So you see a few hit, and then it stays there, and then they steady out like right around that 100,000 mark. So you can imagine, and this is how I think that, somewhere down the road, another one will hit, maybe a year or two, in the future, and it will blow up again, maybe 200,000 or something. And then you have that same dynamic repeat itself. You see a few more hit. That's why I predict that we'll see another Jackie Robinson debut sell this year. I don't know which one it'll be or when it'll be, but I bet that will happen, and it'll be interesting to see where it kind of ends up.
Right, and a good thing that I think that I noticed too the other day. We'll get to it, but do you notice there's another Jordan Red for sale on Goldin?
On Goldin, is that right?
Yes, it just
I didn't know that.
So
I saw the one that was coming on Hunt auctions.
There's one on Hunt too.
Oh wow! Yeah, see that's exactly what we're talking about, and you see people just want to take advantage of what they invested in or had, just happen to have that they were collecting before, and now the margin in it is so great that they just can't resist it. So I don't know. I didn't know. Does Goldin have their next auction posted? I didn't see that.
Yeah, they just put some stuff out. I think today it came through, and there's nothing too crazy, but here it is. Since you haven't seen it, like breaking news for Sean. Here's Jordan Red. I mean, right here. It's basically a 2. It's got writing on the back, which is really weird because I've seen so many Jordans, like the one I have has writing on the back. Just an NBA debut with the score. Like they love to do that in Chicago, I guess, for some reason. Yeah. And it's gonna be real interesting to see what this goes for. If it still holds that $250,000 plus number.
So this must not be right. They have a starting bid at $100? I guess they just want to get a lot of action on it, huh?
That's right. Get it going. Get people's interest. I mean, what do you think something like that will do?
But maybe they haven't finished it. I think 250. I mean, based on what we're kind of seeing, I think the bottom that we saw at Heritage now was the one that went for $99,000, and it was what was it, a 1.5?
It was a 1 with a mark.
It was a 1.5, right?
That
was yeah, and it was blue. Yeah.
It was that
that. Well, it was blue, so it was kind of the bottom, the base, the lowest version of it. So that's 100,000. And so you go up from there, and now the red version, and it's a really nice eye appeal. I think that, I wouldn't be surprised to see it hit 250.
And we'll maybe dive into that Goldin auction more. There's nothing else too crazy on there. There's like a Shaq debut and some other things that, a PSA 8. I can click on it again, just kind of scroll through it. Let me see.
Yeah, I need to take a look at it.
Yeah, just like a quick look. See, another Trout debut. I've seen those popping up like crazy. Autoed a Kobe 8, which is actually really high for an 81-point game. That's an interesting one. And then Messi tickets and a Shaq ticket debut, which I think that's a really nice looking ticket. A full looks like full Hank Aaron 715. But yeah, that's something we can dive in, to later.
Yeah, or in a future talk. So what else do we have? Back to the Goldin or the Lelands. Sorry, there were some other interesting ones there.
Yeah, so the Lelands, another one. This has kind of been a Brady debut. Has kind of been in this range of PSA 4. 28,000. It seems like that's always kind of been holding steady. The highest Griffey debut. What did you think of that one? $43,000. That was one of those shockers, and it makes me wonder to what extent the Griffey public or private signing has to do with where that ended up at. Right.
And I don't know how long when somebody announces a private signing, how long does it last? Like, what's the time frame? Would somebody be able to get that, win that, receive it, and be able to send it in? Do you think?
Possibly. I don't know, man. If you really want to crack that and get it signed, I guess you can do that. But man, well,
I think that's why it drives up the price so much, because they think that they can make a multiple by doing that. And since Griffey has a public signing right now, or private signing right now, then that might be what they're trying to do. I don't know, because I've never done that, whether or not that's logistically possible, but that seems like an insane amount of money for that one.
But it is the highest, and people go wild for the nicest highest, and it is what it is. So I guess it doesn't really surprise me that's kind of the number I would.
That one sold at Goldin.
Right. Looks like Sean's breaking up.
Was it you?
Oh, you were breaking up.
Oh, okay. Am I back now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
What were you saying? One sold at Goldin?
Well, that one though didn't have either audit stub. That one was 21,000 or something like that.
This is the highest, so it doesn't really surprise me.
I don't know. I own one of these, and mine's a PSA 5, and I bought it for $500 on eBay.
Don't you love those stories?
Yeah.
Good night. Ty Cobb last game. I'm seeing last game stuff kind of get more popular. That one for 16,000. I thought that was kind of a cool ticket. They had a Gehrig. I haven't really been kind of curious about these Memorial Day ticket. It's kind of a cool ticket. Went for a couple grand. Something like this seems like kind of has been really popular lately. It's not my thing. Is the World Series debut, like a game, a PSA 2 Mantle Mays debut went for 2,700. The Proof went for 3,000. What do you think of World Series debuts?
I'm not a big fan of World Series debuts. I think that it's one of those examples of where they're just using the word debut just so that they can
right. That's what I'm thinking. I have this ticket. I plan on selling this ticket because I don't. I'll pull it up here, but people may love it. Like it's the Jackie debut, and it's the highest graded. I don't think there's any higher. It's tied for the highest, and it's kind of like I bought this for $400 or $300 at the National. And it's kind of like, how do I not sell it if I think I can get $10,000-$15,000 for it?
Yeah, I agree. I have this one, and it's a full ticket. And let's see if I can. You can't really see it very well, but it's Joe DiMaggio's World Series debut, postseason debut, whatever. But it's a full ticket, like a legitimate full ticket, not just proof or anything.
Are you getting in the
and I
selling
paid,
game? Is it finally
yeah,
happening?
because I don't have any real interest in it. It doesn't really fit my collection. I bought it a long time ago for a few $100s. So, you know, with the word debut on it, it's got to be tens of
It's
thousands.
just that magical word.
Yeah.
What do you think about
So
this one? I know you're kind of the MLB debut expert,
mhm.
or the Ozzie Smith debut. I think you have one of these, I believe.
Yeah, I have one. I used to have two of those, and I traded one of them, but it's a really rare debut, and I think it compares well with the Griffey, except for Griffey's a more high-profile Hall of Famer. But
Right.
in terms of population, I think that there's about the same available out there. They're both opening day, and but Ozzie Smith is not like he's not a popular Hall of Famer. He's just not as popular as Griffey because Griffey was kind of the star of Major League Baseball when we were growing up. But it's interesting to look at the price difference between the two. Where one is what 6,000 and then the other one's 43,000.
Right.
So either
Yeah.
one is
I mean,
overpriced
Griffey,
or the other one is underpriced, or something's going on there. But
I've
yeah,
kind of been
I thought that was more in line with what
I've
it should
kind of
have
been
been.
surprised by the Griffey. Man, I know people loved him, but it seems like in the last year or two, it's really taken off, like the love for
Yeah,
him. And I know you were kind of grew
yeah,
up in Seattle, but to see
yeah.
it in the last year, I feel like it's just exploded. Is that just me, or do you kind of think that too about Griffey?
No, yeah, I've seen the same thing because I've always collected Griffey, and now the prices are just crazy for the same types of things, like the game where he and his father played at first, or the back-to-back home run game. I mean, I bought those on eBay for less than $100, and they would
Right.
go for multiple thousands now, I think.
Right.
And I think it has to do with people our age, basically thinking back to their childhood, who they were fans of and who they enjoyed watching. Like, I enjoyed watching Michael Jordan as a basketball player. I wasn't a fan of his team or anything, but I mean, who our age doesn't like Michael Jordan? He was
Right.
just
Right.
everywhere, and he was so good. And I think Ken Griffey Jr. is kind of the same way in the baseball world for people, where he was never actually popped for steroids like everyone else who played during that era, and kind of ruined it for a lot of people, like Barry Bonds,
Yeah,
for
that's
example.
got to be a big part of that.
Yeah,
Other ones, the Lou Alcindor debut, that's pretty cool. 11,000. I mean, that was a big number. This one right here, Bill
yeah.
Russell
I
triple
I was
double.
looking at that. Go back to that Lou Alcindor. Can you click on that one, because that's a weird. It wasn't. It was like some sort of preseason thing, wasn't it? But in their
First
listed,
UCLA game, yeah, preseason, freshman varsity. God, this is like, how do you differentiate
yeah,
between preseason, regular season? Which one's more valuable? It's it's just like makes your head explode
right.
sometimes.
And so when I first saw that, I thought that was really cool. His first college game. But then I saw that
Right.
it was a preseason game, and first college preseason game. Come on, but $11,000. You know,
I thought this was
that's
really cool. I was bidding on this, but it got kind of crazy. Was the um, Jimmy V championship? It was the panel, the semifinal and final full. Pretty cool.
yeah.
Went for like 13,000,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of crazy. The reason I didn't really go crazy on it because I actually have like 3 of these, and I pulled them out, and they're kind of really quirky. For example, like this one, it's a stub, but it's written as a full. So
Mm-hmm.
PSA screwed up. It's not a full, it's a stub.
Mm,
And then I have
yeah.
one that's in a frame that I bought through auction for like 500, but it's taped on the back, and I don't know what to do because if I start pulling it off, it's going to
Ooh,
rip it. So it's just I have
yeah.
another one too, but I love that ticket, and I was like, I really want this, but how do I justify paying 13 grand for something I already have, even though it is a full in a panel?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Maybe it's just me, but when a ticket is in such a giant holder like that, it's kind of a turnoff. And
right,
not that it would prevent me from ever getting it or acquiring it, but I like to stack them. Like I have a stack of them here, just like they're kind of hard. You can easily stored. But when you have one that's just this giant holder, unless you're going to hang it on the wall or something, how does it fit in with the rest of your collection? Just like organizing.
Yeah, and that was kind of a turn off too. Lelands had some good ones. These were interesting. The Brady, that's another thing, that ticket stub version. Let me pull it up here. The Brady Blood. So I love that ticket, man. I still love the Ticketmaster, but people still, like we said, they pay huge multiples for it. Went for 10 grand, roughly.
Yeah.
And
that's one where the grade got the attention, because I would much rather a PSA 3 of the season ticket version than a 8, 9, or 10 of that ticket stub or Ticketmaster version.
And I've been getting a lot of buzz about concert tickets lately. This kind of went for 3 grand. This is a really cool ticket.
Yeah.
I seriously thought about, I've been collecting more concert tickets. This was a cool ticket. It's got like an autograph of some guy involved with the Beatles on the back. But I've seen these pop up and go for, way more than they were a year ago. And I kind of don't know what the ceiling is on that, but I've been looking at last tickets and huge concert events, things like that. And it's kind of something else. Yeah. Maybe a music type thing.
It's interesting because an event like that, you know how the Woodstock ticket, there's like 5,000 that are graded.
Right. There's tons.
They didn't actually use tickets, but they still distributed them. So everybody who went actually saved their ticket. I wonder how like that Shea Stadium one, that was known to be this giant concert, like huge concert, 50,000 people or something. So how many tickets are there out there? It was so well known that you'd think that a lot of people, and I don't know a lot about concert tickets, so I'm just kind of guessing here, but you'd think that there's a lot of them out there.
I think very few have been graded, though, would be my guess. And then I guess the other thing with concerts, though, is which one, there's so many of them and very few are the big memorable. It's more of like, do I collect all of one guy for a certain year? Do I collect cool? Do I collect the last tickets? What does this true collector want?
Yeah. There's no real debut.
Right. We can go ahead and look at the, but I say for the concerts, I feel like almost the last ticket is almost kind of the equivalent of the debut, but not all people's last are as memorable. I think so. Like a Nirvana last, Elvis last, even like people who just kind of went out quick or passed away, or if you had a Jimi Hendrix last ticket that died young, stuff like that.
Yeah. Because nobody knew it was kind of like the debut. Nobody knew that this person was going to be a great Hall of Famer, or, presumably at that time.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But there's a couple of things I wanted to show, in these Goldin auctions compared to some of these other sales that I made note of that I thought were just kind of crazy about the, the price difference. When we talk about arbitrage, things like that, about how you're like, wow, one ticket sold here for this amount and another ticket sold here for this amount. And I think there were some really good examples of that. Let's see if I can pull them up. Give me a sec. And the first one, we're trying to find all of these. Oh, here we go. So let me pull up here. Sec. So this is all kind of new, filling this way out, but you can kind of start pulling things up and showing them here. Okay. So Otani's MLB debut, that one's autoed. So this one right here exactly went for $12,600. As you can see, it's a 10 PSA 10 full. Final hammer price on Goldin was $12,600. Well, if you go here and see if I can pull it up, final hammer price is $31,200. The exact same ticket sold 4 weeks apart.
2 weeks apart.
And this kind of 2 weeks apart. And I feel like I talked about this before. if you can get a ticket out there on a huge auction house that hasn't been seen before, that's one of the best. Like there's no telling what it can go for. And then the true value of that ticket will be found out when the next 2 or 3 sales are, you know, and like I said, this one was mine and I was blown away when I saw the final hammer price and was beyond happy, you know, to see that. And it's just kind of crazy, you know, the differences you can see. I mean, what do you think about those two differences? I think it's insane.
I think that is an excellent strategy and extremely valuable information for anybody watching that is interested in selling tickets, because your strategy is dead on. Like, think of things that haven't hit the market in a while, and that's what you did, because nobody had seen a PSA 10 Ohtani debut in a while, and we know that there's lots of them out there, but nobody had seen one, and so it went crazy, and then it corrected back to where it probably should be, or probably still even higher than it should be on the next one. So if you can be the first, you're gonna do really well. And with tickets, that's reasonable to do, because a lot of them are pretty rare and you don't see them very often. So if I turn into a seller, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through my collection, find stuff that I haven't seen in a long time. Yeah.
Put it on the auction house, because, you know, it's not like eBay where once that clock runs out, it's over. Like, this thing can go all night, and people just getting bidding wars. You know, other things that I'm going by stuff that I sold that was just blew me away. All right, this Messi, there's like 100 of these out here now. It's a 7.
Yeah.
I guess I got to sign it, but you can see it. It's a 7 sold for $18,600, right? Well, if you go to these other Messis, look at this. Oh, that's the one. This one sold for $49,000. It was a full. That was like 6 months ago. Mine sold for $18,000. And we'll go to some other ones that recently sold. And it just the amount just keeps going down and down and down. Let's see if I can find a few others. So here's a Messi debut, an 8 with a mark. 7,900. That was in January. Messi debut full right here.
It was a full, right?
That was a 5,700. I'm trying to find the ones. I got to go by most recent, but as you can find, if you can see, I think the most recent one that was a 6 went for $2,000, which, I mean, the drop off from 17,000 for a 7 stub to $2,000 for a 6 full just shows you it's another thing, getting these on auction houses before they all really start hitting the market, you know, and that number wouldn't have gone that high if it was on, you know, eBay or something like that. It's the auction houses where you get, you know, this crazy high amount. But yeah, people, and I've noticed, I mean, here it is right here, a 6, $2,200 for a full. Yeah. People like fulls more than stubs. This one for $2,280 full looks pretty damn good. Nicer than mine that went for $17,000. And that's what I'm talking about, these crazy arbitrages or price differences. When you look at these,
is that really the same ticket?
Yeah, this is the same ticket. Mine doesn't have much writing. It just has the sharp corners.
Wow. I should have bought that. I don't have that one, and I don't really, you know, it's not really something that I'm interested, but it is one that you see all the time. So,
right.
But I would want.
And I actually did buy one on Goldin. Really, there was a really nice 6 that was a full that had a barcode on the side. I don't know if I can find it.
Yeah.
But to me, it was worth the value. I know there's a ton of them, but you know, like we say, when there's a high pop report, you got to go for what is super high quality, high grade.
Yeah.
And you know, that's kind of what I did. No, actually, this is the one I bought right here. You know, and if you would rather have my old 7 than this 6, I'd say you're crazy. I mean, if you can see this one, look, here's the 6 that I bought for $2,000.
Yeah.
And here's the 7 I got to sign in that I sold for $18,000. Right?
That's a stub. That's a stub, right?
A stub, and you can't even see the writing on it because it's so faded. It's just stuff is crazy to me. And there's more than one of these options, like a PSA 10 Trae Young on Heritage sold for 1,400, and then I sold another one on there and it went for like 500. Almost $1,000 difference. And that's another thing I'd like to touch on is I'm not going to sell my stuff on Goldin anymore because they just put every damn thing that they get on there. There's no discrepancy whatsoever. If you send it to them and it's worth more than $100, they're going to put it on. I gave Heritage a bunch of stuff, and they took one or two of my tickets. They're like, you know what? We don't want this on our big platinum night. We'll do this on a separate weekend auction because it's only worth $100, $200. So it gets all the riffraff out. And I thought there were some pretty good deals on Goldin just because you had to comb through so much crap and you got a lot of the same stuff that, I think there were some deals to be had.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like Goldin is going through this kind of transition into where they're wanting to do more and more auctions. So then the auctions become like kind of diluted in quality. And whereas Heritage does the regular auctions, the weekend auctions, but then they have their big auctions that everybody, really, kind of saves up for, so to speak. So Goldin needs to do something like that because you're right. There wasn't, it was just kind of a mishmash of a bunch of tickets that there was a lot, but nothing really that stuck out at me. And,
there's a damn,
but a lot of autograph stuff that wasn't high-end autograph stuff, and a lot of
I think the best thing I saw on
a lot
there
of stuff
was
that just didn't make any sense. Like,
I thought this was a cool item. It was a Jack Nicklaus's. If you're into debuts, it was autoed. It was a 10. It was pretty cool. It went for more than I was going to spend. 15,000.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a cool item. I believe they had the Pete Rose debut in there. Did you see that one? Was that in
Goldin? That was an interesting one. And that was it went for like 21,000, and that was the one vintage baseball that it was the one vintage baseball debut. There was a couple others, but 21,000 for that same exact ticket a few years ago, even like a year ago, would have sold for like 4,000, 5,000. Pete Rose obviously is one of those guys that isn't in the Hall of Fame, but people kind of see him on that same level. So, it's
do you own one?
It's a good one, but it's not. I don't have this one because I do not, because I don't because he's not in the Hall of Fame. And I should, because he probably will be someday. But
man,
it's an opening day, and it's a pretty common ticket. Yeah, yeah, I know, because I do the set registry, and it has to be on the set registry for me to add it.
You're a principled man, damn it. Pete Rose, you're not a Hall of Famer. Sean is not going to buy your tickets.
But I did add a Hall of Famer in this one. I picked up the David Ortiz debut, which
I was wondering.
I had to overpay for a little bit.
How do you feel about that purchase?
I overpaid for it a little bit, but I'm happy to just get one. I know that it's a pretty common one, and I was kind of tough. It was a tough decision to bid one last time because I know that I'll see a lot more of these, because there's a lot of them out there. But this is a high grade, and I actually like the smaller holder, the baseball card size holder, because it just displays better with all the other ones. And then his season ticket debut is a bigger one because it's like larger size. So that was one of the reasons why I like that one. But that puts me up to 43 baseball Hall of Fame debuts.
Okay. Yeah, they have some other cool ones. I like these Pele I think Pele is really starting to, I've noticed that in the card world. And now the last ticket, I think, is really cool. I'm sure there's a lot of people held on to him because it was a big deal at the time, but this one was autoed. They sold another one that was a stub. I think that was a cool ticket. I saw a couple of these autographed WrestleMania 1 tickets. These are pretty cool, especially if you're a big wrestling fan or Hogan fan. Went for about $10,000 each. Get you kind of a good look. But yeah, I kind of just showed you. Yeah, it's the first one and an auto. I actually do have a full one that I love. I bought it at the National like 4 years ago, I think, for $900. And they're pretty rare. There's only like 5 of them. So I always kind of keep an eye on what those things go for.
Wow.
You got to get into the wrestling scene, Sean. WrestleMania is coming to Dallas.
See, to me, I'll say this. To me, wrestling is not a sport. It's theater. So it's a different genre. Not that I'm against it, but it's going to,
it's been
going to a
I've
play.
seen so many of these dang Michael Jordan first MLB game. I feel like these like one a week sells, went for like 1,100.
Yeah, it's, everybody who went to that game saved their ticket too. There's tons of those out there.
Right. Tons of those messy debuts that we talked about. But yeah, this is just a monster auction, and it's just filtering through all of it. It's just, it's just overwhelming, and I feel like I wouldn't put my stuff in there again.
Yeah, look at some of the things that shouldn't be in there, like a Francisco Lindor debut. Like why is that there? That should be sold. That shouldn't even be sold on eBay. Or there was, I
thought this was really
like
cool.
Like Xander Bogaerts' debut.
Chris Farley's full ticket to his last SNL appearance. I saw Ravel bought that, shockingly.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
And
that was a cool one.
And tickets collecting is kind of a niche, and it does kind of bother me that I guess I feel like I see a lot of the same people buying tickets that I'm interested in. And I guess that's kind of cool because it's kind of like a little club, but I also would like to see more people jump into the collecting business. And I don't know how that will hold for the long term or affect the value of these tickets if they don't start bringing in more, more collectors. But then again, Daryl bought it for PC, and he's not speculating on it.
Yeah. Yeah, not going to see it again, or at least that same one, unless he fractionalizes it. He seems to want. Right. He seems to do that.
And that's kind of thing I want to talk about is, I've seen Darren and the VVG guy. I mean, they can kind of tell you what they think of the market for some of these tickets. When you're fractioning a ticket off, you think it's basically at its peak value, especially for somebody like Darren, because even if you do keep equity, that guy he's got to be a multimillionaire. So, there's not a lot of incentive to sell your stuff unless you think the value of it is close to maxed out, or you have a duplicate, something like that.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think that from what I understand, selling it fractionally is a good way to maximize the amount that you're going to get. And if you don't get that amount, then you get it back. You don't have to sell it. So it's kind of, it's basically like a buy it now situation that you're assured to sell it. So, if you are interested in selling a high end item, it might be a good option. And plus you can keep part of it, which I don't understand the reasoning behind that, because if you're going to keep part of it, you might as well keep the whole thing.
Right. It's kind of, especially if you're loaded, there's not you don't need the money. So why almost even do it unless you feel like, I feel like this thing is overvalued and I want to get my money out of it, which I think there's more truth to that than, just sharing it with the community. I've been going that route, but like you said, it's a sure thing to get paid. When you auction it, you never know what you're going to get. I was talking to the guy who had the Madden debut, and we were talking about it. I was like, man, I have no idea what that thing will go for. If it went for a couple grand or if it went for 20, I wouldn't be surprised. And lo and behold, it only went for a couple grand. And I think part of that was so many tickets on Goldin. The Madden thing was a couple months ago, was a low grade, but still, like, if this thing went for 10 grand, it wouldn't have shocked me. And it only went for, only went for 2,000. I say only, but like I said, with auctions, you never know what you're going to get. And I feel like this auction, I had 4 or 5 items in it, and I was kind of disappointed with the sales. I think just the sheer number of tickets that were on here negatively affected, what I had. And of course, we've seen a lot of these. I want your opinion. The Pele World Cup debut, they keep popping up everywhere. They keep selling. This one went for 10.
Yeah, and so it's kind of evened out. One one sold on eBay. I noticed a couple of days ago too for right around that amount. I think 11,000. And it's just kind of I think leveled off. The ticket used to be a $2,000 ticket earlier in the year or later last year, and then it popped up to 36,000 on that one auction, and then it's just kind of although wasn't I think Goldin just sold one for 43 or something, but
yeah, I think they have one or two more in the new auction. You know, they're just kind of people are like the messy debuts.
This is
pulling them out.
Yep, it's just like what we talked about. The people who have them in these auctions are not it's not the right time. The right time will be after this wave dries up, and then you wait till maybe late in the year or early next year, and then put one on, and it'll go to the next level. At least that's the theory.
But yeah, I'm kind of scrolling through these Goldin. I think we kind of touched on some of the main bigger ones, and we'll look at the next auctions coming up. But yeah, like I said, right now, my recommendation, if you're going to auction a ticket, go with Heritage, just because Goldin just got way too much going on right now. You should start filtering things out.
Yeah. Plus, they're into VHS and video games and Pokemon. And
they're throwing it all up there. You give it to us, we're going to put it up there in the same auction and let it fly. Right. More power to them.
So, I think, and I wish, and if I had more resources and time and everything, I would start a ticket-centric auction house that's just tickets. Imagine that. You'd have the entire market. Everybody would send you tickets.
I don't know if you get enough eyeballs, though. I guess that's the thing. Goldin Heritage, they get those eyeballs. But I guess if they flood the auction too much.
That's the thing about tickets, though. There's not that many eyeballs, just like we were talking about. There's not that many eyeballs out there. It's a pretty small market. So if you can get all of them, that's all you need. But you probably wouldn't be drawing other people from the outside. So I guess it's, All right. I won't do it.
So have you had any pickups? Any pickups lately, or any graded tickets come back or anything like that?
Other than that one, I did pick up. Oh yeah, I actually got one on eBay not too long ago. It's let's see, this one. It's the Jordan second home run. So I have
the second home run.
I have his first home run. Yeah, and so then somebody posted a second home run on eBay, and I picked that up, and now he hit 3 home runs. So now I just need 3. It's one of those small sets that I'm collecting now. If I can find his third home run, which will probably take years to find it.
He only hit 3 home runs.
And you know what? All 3 came within like 4 weeks of each other.
I think I kind of remember
at the end of the season. So he had actually
people who didn't grow up.
Yeah,
get about
he actually started hitting.
Yeah, it is so wild that he went and played baseball. I know when I was at the card show, I had a few totally random pickups. I thought this was a really cool ticket. It's basically Notre Dame, Oklahoma, full ticket from 19. Man, it is super old. 1953, and I was like, man, to find a full ticket with these two, I was like. It sold like 10 years ago on eBay for like $100. So I bought it for $100. Like, why not? Right. Yeah. Another thing I've kind of talked about before are programs that I think are pretty cool that I've kind of started collecting some random ones. So this was the Clemente's last series, and it had like game 1 of. I was like, he's on the cover. I know it's got a staple in it and writing on it, but it was like $75. I'm like, all right, why not? When you're at a card show, you feel like you got to buy something. I was like, man, I feel like this is kind of historic with Clemente's big face on the cover and, his very last series before he died, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I thought that those two items are kind of cool.
Yeah. I have the complete set to that series, that whole series graded somewhere around here. But yeah, that's a good one. The Clemente's final series. I think that each game had something, either final home run, final hit. There's some kind of Clemente final in that series. It's good, but good program. I think it seems like programs are starting to become really popular now.
It's just like everything else. People are like, well, what's undervalued? I don't want to hold on to my dollars. So And cards are
What's
getting
next?
priced to the peak. Tickets are getting priced to the peak. Let's go to programs. Let's go to photographs. Let's go to, whatever else is out there. I feel like those things have really popped up lately. And oh, look at my new photo, whatever. I'm not into the whole photo scene. They're kind of cool, but not my thing. It's just those untapped markets where people are starting to dive into.
Yeah, that's different group. We're tickets. So
yeah, I'm focused. I'm right here. It's tunnel vision on tickets. I don't have time for any other stuff.
Yeah. Right. Did you see? Okay, so we talked about it earlier, but I don't know if you wanted to bring it up. The fake.
Jordan debut. The fake Jordan debut. So I have it. There's a lot of talk on Booger Stubbs. And go ahead, because you kind of followed it a little more than I do. I'll pull it up, kind of the look of it.
Yeah, so somebody posted it on eBay, and it was out of, I forget what country, but some European country. I don't know if it's on there, but that's where they were selling it from. And it has certificate of authenticity that they said it was from the American Red Cross, which that's your first red flag, right? The American Red Cross, to my knowledge, has never graded tickets. So I don't know if they authenticate them or what, or maybe they did. And then somebody emailed them and asked, or messaged them and asked, to get to be able to see it and where they got, the history behind the ticket. And the seller's response was that they bought it in 1997 for $10,000. And then they had responded to somebody else and said they bought it in 1995 or 1995 for $15,000. And so anybody who collects tickets, has collected tickets for even longer than a couple of years, knows that in 1997, a ticket like that would have sold for like, $200 at most,
right.
$10,000. Nobody would have bought that for $10,000 like that. So this is a post that I did on Boogers, and I just basically compared the two directly. The one on the bottom is the fake one, and then the one on the top is a legitimate one. And you can see not only with the color, and the argument could be made, oh, maybe it was water damaged or whatever, so the color was different. But looking at the watermarks on both of them, you can tell just because watermarks are hard to fake if you're going to print something. And so the watermark on the bottom of the stadium is obviously a lot darker. It's like it was printed. It's not a watermark. And then the bull watermark in the white part, that's obviously just really faded ink and not a watermark. And so, it's things like that. And then the strip on the right side of it is so dark, and yet the rest of the ticket is faded. That doesn't really make any sense, because if the light was fading it like that, it would have faded that black strip too, unless somehow the black strip was covered the entire time, but that was printed as black and they made it look older, but there's no way to fade, fresh black ink,
Right.
And so there was several, and then if you look at the back of it, I don't know if, there was another one in the back, but basically the lettering from the Chicago on the back of it was spaced out more. And so it was pretty obvious, and Darren Ravel was bringing it up and made several posts about it, and eventually eBay finally took it down. But it brings up a really important point, because I think that we're going to see a lot more of these. And if you like, I've talked about this before, but I used to collect the 1986 Fleer basketball set, and I had a complete set, PSA 10. And so I'm really familiar with all the fake Jordans that are out there. And there's a lot of them, and they're really good fakes. And you have to get to know what to look for. Anytime there's a 86 Fleer Jordan that's not slabbed, you need to look carefully. And if you do, you can see the differences. And the differences are really obvious if you know what to look for. And if you have ones, you look at them side by side. And so with Jordan debuts, it's going to be the same thing. If it's raw, you really need to compare it to a real one and look very, very, very closely. Every little difference down to the, pixels on different things, just like you would a card. And I don't think that ticket collectors are used to doing that. They just kind of look at it and it looks like what it's supposed to be. So it is. But it's a ripe area for fraud because there's so many that are not graded and people accept them as not graded, unlike cards, and because they're so valuable now, and people aren't really used to looking for fakes and they're not used to knowing what to look for. So
right, I think that's a good point because
be very, very careful about.
I've never even come across anything that I thought was fake, and everything I bought raw, I've never even questioned it. But now something high dollar, I have to say, man, if this is a 10, 20, 30 plus $1,000 ticket and it's raw, you may really have to take a really good look, especially if you're not buying it through a reputable source or through eBay or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of money made. Those tickets cost about probably $20-$50 to make. And if you can make a nice fake one that's worth $20,000, that's a pretty nice return.
Yeah, 20,000. I mean, if that ticket actually sold, it probably would have sold for 150 to 200,000 if it was real,
Right,
and
right.
So that's when there's that much money on the line, people are going to try to figure out ways to game the system. So we just have to be aware of it. It's important as a ticket collector for the integrity of the hobby, really.
So, all right. I guess not much too else. I mean, how do you feel about the hobby? I mean, how you feel like it's in a good place? It's kind of got ridiculous. It's kind of still a little all over the place.
I feel like it's kind of evening out a little bit. It's leveling off. At least that's my feeling. You're starting to see things get repeated a lot, and the prices are just kind of stabilizing. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of see that. We talk about like that Wilt. You didn't see it go bonkers over something else.
Yeah.
I think this new Jordan on Goldin will be a really good gauge. If it sells for like 125, it'd be like, that's a pretty big drop than what we expected. But if it goes for the twos, will be about what we would think. But if it went for like 3 or 4, it'd be like, wow, that's crazy. The other one went for this. This one went for 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get anything like when that 86 Fleer Jordan went for 700 something. That was, I feel like, peak insanity in the card market. I don't know if we had that. We may have had it in tickets and not know it. And we'll have like another Jackie or something sell for like 100. Be like, wow, that was peak insanity 6 months ago. But maybe not. I'm hoping, like you say, I'm hoping it's kind of a level on off now. We're like, okay, we're kind of finding a good price point for all these things.
Establishing it. Yeah, I think. And then once you get there, then it's just kind of, you can look at it over years and see it grow instead of over months or weeks, we were seeing last year. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that stabilized market where it's not so crazy where you just don't know where stuff is going to land. I'm able to predict things a little bit better now, which is a sign of that. But who knows? But I think you're right. That red Jordan will tell us a lot, and then coupled with the red Jordan that's going to be sold at Hunt auctions, I think that'll tell us. Wow,
because I didn't see that one on Hunt. I'm gonna have to go check that out now. What was the grade on that one?
I don't know if they posted it. I don't know if they posted it yet. I saw, I think their website or their Instagram or something posted it a while back that they had one. I don't know if it's, or somebody posted that they had one, but I don't think that they have the auction up yet. It's in their next auction. So
okay,
we'll see.
Cool. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I feel like we kind of touched on that. We're near the hour mark. For those who are with us the whole time, hold on with us while we're figuring out this whole StreamYard and making it as smooth as possible. And we'll kind of go from there. I'm sure every time we do this, we'll get a little better at it with showing.
Is this live?
No, it's not live, but it's live right now for us, but it's just recording.
Yes.
But then we'll post it.
But next time, we can do it. We can do it live. Yeah.
Once we kind of figure out all the ins and outs, and we'll try to do our best.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Well, let me know where you post it, and I'll link to it, and we'll get it done.
Yeah, we'll get it done. We'll probably put it up as soon as I get to it, probably the next 24 hours. So Sean, you'll see it, and I'll let you know, and we'll go from there.
All right. Great. Looking forward to it.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
Talk to you later.
All right, later.